Hi, Jennifer Keitt here, your Chief Empowerment Officer. Right after the show, let's talk about race, a living room conversation on race with none other than Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum. Thank you so much. And
Thanks
I
so much.
want to ask you, here's what happened to me, and this is for everyone out there listening. Dr. Beverly is going to tell us why I'm going to paraphrase, why we always want to be around black folks when we are out in the world. So here's what happened. I went to the Y, joined a women's Bible study, walked into the room, and there was nothing but white moms in there. And for the first time, this was this week, for the first time in a long time, I felt tensed up. I literally felt myself tense up. And as soon as Alice, a black woman, walked through the door, I visibly relaxed. And Alice came right over and sat next to me. We struck up a conversation. And I thought, because I was preparing in my mind for this show, and I thought, what is going on that I would still feel like I have to have someone that looks like me in a context that was a little bit unfamiliar? Why do we do that?
Well, you have told some stories about your own personal life history where you had some negative experiences. So it's not like it's a neutral situation. You come with that history, right?
Mm-hmm.
You come into that situation knowing that sometimes these situations where you are just one of a few. I'm thinking back to your 7th grade experience.
Oh my God,
you
yes.
know, that you told about on the air,
Yeah.
where you're, in a mix and then all of a sudden someone turns on you and says a mean thing. So it's not surprising that you might have that sense of, am I going to be safe in this environment?
But even now, though?
But let's imagine. So let's take it out of race altogether. Let's imagine you are in an environment where everybody speaks a language different from your own. And someone walks in who speaks the same language that you do. You're going to connect with them because you've got a shared experience. So it's not always about race and tension. Sometimes it's just about common experience. My guess is, though, if you had stayed there and if Alice hadn't arrived and, someone had been
Which
warned,
happened the next time, exactly.
You would have felt more comfortable. But, of course, when you're in an unfamiliar environment and there's signals, you are going to be a little cautious. Everyone, that's a natural response.
So what was the conclusion that you drew in your book, Why Do All the Black Kids Sit Together in the Cafeteria? Is that a bad, is that a good, or is it just is?
Well, it can be either, right? So that's a complicated answer. But so, for example, if everybody's sitting together because they have been excluded, the Jackie Robinson story.
Yes.
Why, he was excluded in a very negative way.
Discrimination,
yes. That's obviously a bad thing. If that's the reason, because you're being treated badly and you have to clump together for social support in a hostile situation. You don't want to be dealing with hostility.
Interesting.
But sometimes you gather together because you've got a shared experience and you want to connect in that way, and it's affirming.
Yeah.
And so it's not really, when we walk into a cafeteria in a school,
Yes.
and we see a racially mixed school and we see black kids sitting together in the cafeteria, one of the questions I always ask is, what opportunities are there in the school for kids to connect across lines of difference? It's not either or, it's both and.
I love that.
Yes, sometimes you want to just sit with people who you've got a shared experience with, shared commonality, same neighborhood, same
everything,
slang,
absolutely.
whatever it is. And that's a natural part, particularly when you're an adolescent. But if you never have an opportunity to connect with someone different from yourself and learn how to do that, then you're missing out.
What do you say to my listening audience, one thing that they can do right now to begin to heal in the race relations area?
I want to say to black parents in particular, African American parents, to be sure you surround your children with positive images of African Americans. And that might seem obvious. We might say, well, of course we've got the positive image of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and their children. That's a positive image. But at the same time, we also know that sometimes people have internalized negative messages, and we use language like good hair, bad hair, for example.
Light skin, dark skin,
for
example.
For example. And we can interrupt that. As parents, we can eliminate that kind of language. We can affirm the way our children look, the way they appear. We can let them know that who they are is just the way God made them, and that is a positive thing.
You are wonderful. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. Make sure that you listen to the entire show online at jenniferkeitt.com, and be sure then to tune in next Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. on KISS 104, Atlanta's Best R&B.